What's going on, guys? My name is Noah, and in this video, Dr. Erica Zelfand is going to talk about the use of CLOMID as it relates to testosterone replacement therapy. If you would like to know why I'm on TRT, please feel free to read the description below. This is actually extra footage I had from a longer video where Dr. Z talked about primary, secondary, and tertiary forms of hypogonadism, aka different types of low testosterone, and different treatment protocols. The CLOMID that we're going to discuss in this video more pertains to tertiary. If you'd like to know more about that video, link in the description, gives a little bit of context, but this standalone video will work fine. It was extra footage I didn't include last time. I think you guys will enjoy it. I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you for checking out the video, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Then there's CLOMID.
You're gonna dive
Do you want to talk about CLOMID?
Oh man.
We don't have to talk about CLOMID.
Let's talk about CLOMID.
So CLOMID, this is where things get interesting.
Oh, now things are getting interesting?
You thought that was interesting.
No, I didn't know we were even talking about CLOMID today, so I'll have to throw that in the show notes.
Surprise!
Yeah.
Okay, so CLOMID it's a class of drug called a SERM.
SERM.
Selective Estrogen Receptor Modulator.
Dang.
Okay, this is a drug that's typically used in fertility treatments in women, and now some people are figuring out it can work in guys as well.
Interesting.
So the way that SERMs work, the way that CLOMID works, is the hypothalamus here. Remember we said there's a feedback for testosterone. When you've got enough testosterone, it goes back to the hypothalamus and it says, we've got enough, right? So the hypothalamus doesn't just get feedback about testosterone, it also gets feedback about estrogen and thyroid hormone and all of our other hormones. So what the SERM does is, at the level of the hypothalamus, how do I want to do this? All right, let's say that these are receptor sites in the hypothalamus.
Okay.
This SERM kind of gets in the way of those receptor sites so that the estrogen can't bind there.
Oh, okay.
So this hypothalamus doesn't get as strong of a signal to dampen down the release of gonadotrophin-releasing hormone.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Wrapping my head around it a little slower than the other stuff, but yeah, it makes sense.
So when the testosterone comes, it can't, there's no place for it to bind to.
Interesting.
Because those receptors aren't as available. The estrogen can't bind there.
Got it.
So therefore, the hypothalamus never gets that signal to knock down the GnRH production.
Oh.
So our GnRH production can stay where it was. It can keep stimulating the pituitary, so it can keep stimulating the FSH and LH, which can then keep stimulating the testes to produce testosterone.
So are there guys using CLOMID exclusively as hormone replacement therapy?
You know, using CLOMID exclusively, I would use it more as like a diagnostic tool as opposed to a monotherapy, but what guys typically, when they do CLOMID, is they go on their TRT and then they do CLOMID for a little bit, just to shut down the negative feedback that happens.
Interesting.
So sometimes when guys plateau or they slide backwards, here's the thing with CLOMID. Your testes need to work.
Right.
And pretty much all these other pathways need to work that well. So for some guys it works really well, for other guys it does nothing at all.
Interesting.
But essentially what CLOMID does is it tricks your brain so that it doesn't do the negative feedback thing. So the negative feedback thing, and I think we've talked about this before, is when your testosterone levels go up, even if it's just from TRT, your brain doesn't know the difference, right? It just senses you've got enough testosterone.
And it reacts accordingly.
Right, it knocks down your GnRH, it knocks down your FSH and LH. That's why guys on TRT have low FSH and LH, even if they are not secondary hypogonadal. Once they start that therapy,
it just creates that.
Right. You know, that's just the brain adapting.
Right.
Does that make sense? Do you need me to draw that out?
No, that makes perfect sense.
Okay, so CLOMID just kind of sneaks around that process.
Interesting.
Wow. What else? Anything else?
I mean, we went over secondary, primary, secondary, and tertiary. You gave a little explanation of CLOMID. You talked about some of the different treatment possibilities. Primary being more exogenous TRT is the only real way to help that. HCG in conjunction with TRT and or on its own, potentially if it's secondary. And then the CLOMID works in there occasionally with secondary treatment. Or is it more working in there with primary treatment?
It doesn't work for primary.
So it's the secondary or
yeah,
tertiary.
Yeah.
Holy crap sack, that's a lot of information.